before we get to that, how was your fourth weekend besides hot?
It was busy and hot. Yeah, I feel like hot was the story for everyone. And we've, come back now, and we have so much going on today. I feel like we came back to a lot of news.
Oh my gosh, it was just like one after another, after another, after another.
And not that I wasn't paying attention, but obviously, you check out a little bit of work, and then you come back and you're like, oh, okay, let's lock in. We've got a lot going on today. But
right. So we do want to get to that train derailment. So this happened about a little before 10 o'clock because the sun was still up when this happened. So this was in the 9 o'clock hour last night in Bucyrus. These are some photos shared to us by the Bucyrus Police Department. So we do know that there were a total of 4 or 5 cars that went off the track there late yesterday evening into the night. This all happened at Whetstone Street in Bucyrus. This is a Norfolk Southern train. So 5 rail cars derailed, 14 additional cars went off the track. There's a difference there. Derailment is like fully over and off. And then, some others just kind of hop the track and are just hanging out. So what came out of this is because of what they were hauling, we do know that these some of the cars were hauling hydrochloric acid. So out of an abundance of caution, they did evacuate an area. It started at a 1 mile radius, then it got shrunk down to a quarter of a mile late last night into this morning. County EMA says there's no further concern to the public right now, but out of an abundance of caution, that area is still going to be shut down for about 36 hours.
I know. I feel like, a lot of the times, especially when we hear train derailment, ever since East Palestine, it was very, it's very scary. And people obviously catches a lot of attention. Thankfully, it seems like they've got this one under control. And, they're minimizing, we saw more square footage that was being evacuated versus now as far as the mileage goes. So that is good news. But definitely going to be watching that throughout the day. And the pictures just kind of speak for themselves at this point.
Yeah, this is a look from just this morning, and you can already see Norfolk Southern has moved in equipment to get some of those train cars back on the track. So they're already there. They're aware of all of this. But right now, we do know about 20 people are kind of stuck in a temporary shelter right now at the Bucyrus Bucyrus High School. The Red Cross is there. They have been the ones to set up that shelter. We're still waiting for some additional updates from the Bucyrus Police Department, Crawford County Sheriff's Office, and Crawford County EMA. But once again, they don't believe there's any current danger to the public. They're really just monitoring these cars for any sort of leaks that could happen. As of right now, nothing has leaked, which is a great sign.
I think the biggest question will be, how did this happen? Because the pictures, like I said, there's more than one car that's just kind of toppled over. So
yeah, and I mean that is always the question of what caused it, because as you mentioned, East Palestine in 2023, that had, at the end of the day kind of was attributed all down to that bad wheel bearing on that Norfolk Southern train, and in that one we had 20 cars that went off the tracks. And I mean, obviously you were in Ohio when that happened. I was
still
watching from afar.
Still kind of dealing with the mess of that,
right,
even years later, and will be. So
right, and that was one that we saw, similar chemicals being transported in that. And then the one that I remember that was another one that was Tamaro, Illinois in 2003.
Okay.
And that was another train that was carrying vinyl chloride and other substances. It jumped the tracks. About 20 cars went off then. But unlike this one out of Bucyrus, those cars did leak, and then they did catch fire.
Oh.
And that caused, they ended up evacuating a 3 mile radius. That it affected about 1,000 people. They evacuated a whole town. Those folks ended up in my town for a couple days.
Okay.
That one was attributed to a rail failure because, there was some issues with the rail bed not being supported, so it was squishy. A couple broken pieces of track and things like that. So this all comes down to what the NTSB finds, because anytime this happens, the NTSB is going to swoop in and be like, all right, we're taking over, and then in a few months we'll get what exactly happened.
It is good news, like we said, though, that it started at a mile evacuation, now it's down to a fourth. At least we're getting some reassurance that has happened, but 36 hours is still a long time for Whetstone Street to be closed.
Yeah, and they'll be, like I said, 36 hours that these folks are kind of just hanging out at the high school there, but they are getting assistance from the Red Cross. Now, train derailments aren't all that uncommon, but really where we've got to look is where they happen, because according to the Association of American Railroads, About 70% of all train derailments happen in rail yards. So these are those, those busy multi-track yards like that one that's over on Roberts Road where we have UP and Norfolk Southern, all of them switching trains around. 70% of those happen over there. And actually last year, so 2025, when we're talking about Class 1 railroads, which are the large ones that are operated by Canadian National, Norfolk Southern, etc., they had the lowest derailment rate on record last year, down 17% from 2024. Still, though, 687 derailments in all of 2025. Now, not all of them are huge derailments.
Everything, yeah, it could be as small as a little.
Even if like one car just hops,
nick.
Yeah, even if just like a little like one car track just kind of like hops over, that still gets reported as a derailment. So even though we have that huge number, 687, which is, you look at the line graph from even a decade ago and it's way, 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 way down. But yeah, all of that has to get reported. So but 30% of these do happen out and about that aren't in these rail yards. So that's certainly something that we have to continue keeping an eye on, is where this Bucyrus incident goes moving into this afternoon. Obviously, we'll have updates on that throughout the day. But as for now, that exclusion zone, that evacuation zone is still set up.